I'm the maintainer or the main maintainer of the Purescript plugin for Intellij, and it have reached a milestone in this version, which is version like 0.26.3 or something like that, where one of my favorite katas that I created myself is you're able to solve the main subject of that kata. And that's the one ahead of us. So I was thinking maybe I can show you how to solve it using the plugin, and also talk a little bit what is the point of the things you're gonna learn from doing this kata, or what it tries to teach you. So the main topic of this kata is to learn and think about law of Demeter. And law of Demeter is also sometimes referred to talk to your friends, not your friends' friends, which is, do you want to reduce the scope, like how much a function or a method or whatever, of how much of the other program structure that function knows about? So that the core principle or the benefit you want is so that a local change does not affect the rest of the program. So you can always try to ask yourself, okay, if I look at this code, what other code, if it changed, would break this code? And I like this law of Demeter thing also because you could basically write a parser, a linter that can figure out that you're breaking law of Demeter. It can't really tell you how to fix it though. So you need to have some tools in your belt, and we'll just look at one of the ways to solve this, which might not be the best one, but at least it's one. But since it's so easy to see, and you can't really argue if it breaks it or not, like that's a fact, you could argue that maybe it doesn't matter in this case, and that's fine. And that is a big contrast to some of the other code smells and design principles there is out there. So it's a very good beginner-friendly rule to go by to follow this law of Demeter. So what is law of Demeter? Well, law of Demeter can be seen in many different levels of understanding. The first one I try to teach people is you should only have one dot or one axis. So if you have, for example, here we have equipment dot, but here we have player dot inventory, and then this hash is actually, you could look at it like a method call in other languages. So this is also a dot, and then we have a dot here, and then we have a dot more. So we have this sometimes called a train wreck, where you just have call after call after call. And as you can understand, this makes this code brittle to change in the relationship between the player and the equipment. Like if the equipment's not in inventory, and you can see that the theme of this code is like a fantasy battle game. It's called Fantasy Battle, where you have a player that have some inventory and some objects, something on their head, something on their feet, and they are trying to do damage to a monster or something like that. And in the design as it is now, the equipment is part of the inventory, but that's maybe going to change in the future. And if you change that, then this code needs to be updated. And that is what we don't want, right? So this have a lot of dots, even though they're not like true dots as they would look like in Java or something like that. And you can also see that we are hiding some of them. So if we would inline this one, and I'm just going to do that quickly, we can see that we have many more dots here on one line. So one way to hide this is, let's undo this, is by extracting variables. But really what we're looking for is not what a statement or a line or an expression, how much that is breaking law of Demeter, but we are looking at, in this case, at least functions. So one way to solve this low Demeter is just to push down the problem. And it sounds like just ignoring the issue, but by pushing down so that you basically, as soon as you have got some value from somewhere, you delegate it and give it to some other place, you actually remove this issue where the whole code base needs to be updated. Because then you have this single source of knowledge of how things are structured, and that is the only way through the code that things use. So if we have a way to get the base damage from the inventory, for example, here. So if base damage was a function that didn't take a player but took an inventory, then we would remove this indirection, right? So of course we want to have get base damage for player as well, but we would like to have it for player, for inventory, and for equipment. And by doing this nesting, at some point we will have only one dot in the expression. So explaining it from the other side is this: talk to your friends, not your friends' friends. So in this case, our friend is the player. So friends are things that are parameters or fields or global variables, but we know that global variables can be problematic for other reasons. So in this case, player is our friend. So we're allowed to talk to our player and get the inventory, but then we're not allowed to talk to the inventory, so to speak. So we need to give the inventory to someone else who's friends with the inventory. So the first function we're gonna fix is this get base damage. And we have all these fields that we have expressions that we have broken out. And I'm just gonna start inlining them because even though they are really okay to have like that, if we extract the expression above with themselves extracted, the right hand, head, and feet, they're going to be arguments to the expression, which is not what we want. I can actually show that, so let's undo this, and then I'm going to do extract this part, and we're going to extract it to the player. You can see that chest, feet, head becomes now the arguments, which is not what we want. So let's inline them again. And we have some extra parentheses, and that's because the plugin currently haven't really figured out how access of records work. But there'll probably be that when you try this out, and it will then complain that we have in parentheses we don't need, and you will be able to fix that. So let's select this now and extract that. So let's extract that to the player and say get base damage from equipment record. Because the thing here is that this is not really the method I would like to have, or function, sorry. Because I would like to have it around the new type that is called equipment. So you can see here that we have already went into the equipment data structure and kind of taking their innards, which is this record. So we would really like to extract this part. The plugin currently, because of how operators work and that you can change their fixity and stuff, you need to do some workarounds, but they are very simple. It's if you do select, it will select the correct amount in the beginning. So now we have selected the correct part of the expression, and we can just add parentheses. And after we added parentheses, the plugin definitely knows how to extract only this part. So let's first rename this to call it equipment record, because I want the equipment name here when we extract this part. So this is what I want. I want it to be here in this and call it equipment. And this looks a little bit silly here. You can see that it knows that it doesn't need the parentheses anymore. because we have this call and we would probably just have moved them around. But let's focus on only the loft Demeter and do the other things if we have time. So now I can inline this, and it looks a lot better. And now it doesn't have the equipment record. It actually has the equipment as the dependency. So if I now do, let's do it this way just to show that you can select more or less, and I'll put it in the player here, and this time it's actually equipment, which is nice. If we go there, we can inline this, and we get this duplication here of this call, which doesn't really matter so much here. But if we would think it would matter, we should be able to extract this as a let's actually well, let's first add the declaration and then do some refactoring by hand. Because we have this type signature here, it will act a little bit like a test for us. So I'm okay with doing this change. But before we change that, let's move this to not this file. Let's move it to the equipment file. And if we now go to the to here and follow this link, we can see that it's here and it's next to equipment, which is nice. And let's add equipment here. So this is how you use destructuring to get into the content here. And I'm just going to copy that and everywhere, sorry, there, paste it. So we're doing kind of inline thing there. So, and now we have fixed it for equipment. So equipment now only takes out the friends. So we take the equipment, we take out the left and right hand and give it to get base damage, and then we combine them, which is awesome. But if we go back to where this is used, we're still having the issue here with the inventory. So let's extract this part. And we can put it next to here and call it just inventory. Very simplistic. And we inline this part now. And we can take this whole expression and say, move it here, and it's from inventory. And if we go here, we can ask the compiler server to add the type. We can move it, and let's move it to inventory. And if we go there, we can see that we basically have the same thing here, that we would really like to change this to be inventory instead. So then we can remove this part. You can see that the compiler helps us a little bit here. It's also, since we are just wanting to have the equipment, I would really like to do this and sorry. Oh, can't I rename that from here? Interesting. Okay, let's call it just equipment. And let's move this. No. Okay. So we can see that the compiler is not complaining. And we have removed or isolated. So now it's only in this file it knows how inventory looks like, or at least exposed. I mean, you can still import the inventory class. We haven't really made it hidden or anything. I wonder what happened there. It says that this one can't be reached. Maybe something went wrong. The refactoring. Let's undo it till it works again. It's here. Let's optimize the imports. Let's try it again. So this works. You can go here. Awesome. It's I will leave it to the reader to figure out what went wrong somewhere in there. And let's do this again. Call it equipment. And so I must have done something weird. And now we can see that we can also inline this and it looks much better. And we can even remove the parentheses here. Okay, so what I would then ask you, if you would like to learn more, is to go and do the get damage modifier, which is a little bit harder because it's not only taking information from the inventory of the player, but also from the stats of the player. And here we can really see the lofty meter violation in big swing here with player.stats.strength. But yeah, that was all for now, and I hope there will be more videos of this. If you want to see this kata explained, but in a different language, comment, send any questions to Proagile's inbox, and otherwise, just have a nice day. Bye.